Hello everyone, George Packard, Family Lawn and Landscape. Today, I want to give you a couple of tips on how to retain customers. Okay? First off, here's how the business works. You do your advertising, you get the phone to ring, then you lock them down, that becomes a customer, you start making money, you pay your bills. This is how, in a nutshell, how everything boils down to, okay? So, customers leave you for lots of reasons, okay? No matter what business you're in, there's many reasons why they leave you. So, for example, let's say they leave you because they lost their job and they can no longer afford your services. That's one reason. Happens a lot, okay? Or they take a pay cut or whatever, and they just have bad medical problems, or say they got a lot of dental work, and all of a sudden, there's just not enough money to go around, so they can't afford your service. Maybe they lost their job. Maybe they're moving. Maybe they just died. We've had that happen to us, competition. Competition is huge. It's another reason that customers leave you. People come up, knock on the door, hey, I'll mow your grass for X amount less than what you're already doing, and the next thing you know, you lose a customer. So more than likely that wasn't a customer you wanted anyway, because if they're willing to leave you for the low baller, then you're not going to be, they're a cheapskate anyway, so it's not your ideal client. But anyway, and one of the biggest things, and we've had this happen to us, so it's almost an ongoing problem in our company. Now, we're a bigger company, so granted, we're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of customers, so you're always going to have this, but poor work, okay? Poor work. The guys come in, they do a shitty job. So those are some of the reasons that they leave, but I'll tell you what, that last one should never be a reason for them to leave. It's a fact of life. It does happen. Here's what you do about it. So, the name of the game is retention. So, you want to retain as many of these as possible. And here's a good example. So, I touched on this earlier. I'll just touch on it briefly. So, a year ago or 2 years ago, we were just bringing in customers hand over fist. I wasn't watching the bottom line, and I wasn't watching what was happening down here. So, I call it in my boat, basically. The boat, well, she's barely floating. I had so many leaks in it because I had so many problem employees that we weren't paying attention to, that were lighting fires all over the place. So I call them like children with matches. Those of you who have subscribed, you've heard this from me before. They're constantly starting fires everywhere, and the manager, all they do is they have to go and put out all these little fires that are starting everywhere. Or they're punching holes in your boat. Every time you turn around, you're trying to go faster, but you can't because you keep getting bogged down because you keep losing customers because these guys keep punching holes in your boat and you're taking on water. So ultimately, you got to patch all the leaks in your boat before you can move on. Ultimately, you have to take the matches away from the babies and so that they're not starting fires all over the place before you can move on. Now our focus has changed a great deal into customer retention. When you look at it and you lose hundreds of customers in a year, that's just ridiculous. And if it's for poor quality, I mean, that's the stuff that gets you. That kills me. And our whole focus has changed now on that. So, and I'm going to share some of those tips with you about that. So, what you want to do with customers is make their life as simple as possible. So with us, for example, we do a lot of different things to make their lives comfortable. So what we do, we'll send them emails letting them know, hey, we were just serviced your property, or hey, we're going to be a little bit late this week. We ran into a lot of rain, things of that nature. We're always trying to communicate with our customers better, okay? Even if it's to come in and say, hey, we noticed that you got some brown spots in the back of your yard back there. It looks like you got damage to the lawn. You have a sprinkler issue going on there. If you do, we charge X amount an hour to come out and work on it. You're showing them that you care about them and you're watching out for their lawn. You're also trying to upsell them, obviously, on services so that you get more money coming in that way too. But it's hand in hand. You're showing them good things. You're aware of the lawn. We have lost jobs from customers that don't live in their house, that live in a different state, and all of a sudden they come to their vacation house here, and the ground's completely brown, the irrigation has had a problem with it for God knows how long, and our employees weren't intelligent enough to say anything about it. They just showed up, oh, that grass don't need to be mowed, hell, it's brown as hell. They just drive right on by. It's good for them, right? They don't have to do the work. Customer shows up, sees their lawn, and fires us instantly. That's a joke. That should never happen. So, you've got to train your guys to stay on top of these things. Point out problems immediately to people. Point out things They're the ones that are there every week on these properties. Why can't they point out things like, hey, you know, you have, you know, a lot of weeds in the beds. Those need to be taken care of, you know. You know, there's the mulch. You're thin on mulch. You know, if we get mulch in there, we can cut back on all the weeds that are growing here. There's so many things that your employees could be doing to show good customer care, but they're not going to do it if you don't take the time to teach them to do it. Okay? Teach your employees to look for the bad spots in the lawn. Teach your employees to look for different things. You may offer your employees incentive and say, look, I'm going to give you 3% of every job we pick up. So if I pick up a mulch job from that customer because of your referral, hey, I'll give you 3% of the mulch job. You could do all kinds of things like this to train your employees and to get them excited on board on the program. The customer's going to look at a lot of those things like, you know what, most of the time when I come home at night, I don't pay any attention to the lawn and I don't pay any attention to the shrubs. But now that he brought this to my attention, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to look around and I'm have a look at it, and sure as shit, there's hardly any mulch in here whatsoever. God damn it, he looks around the neighborhood. Yep, everybody else has got it. All right. Hey, George, can you guys come and mulch this for me? Give me an estimate. Okay, that's all it takes a lot of times. So make sure you guys do that, okay? All right, so making their life simple as possible is good. Listen to their concerns. When they do call, what we would do in the past when they called with a concern is I would call the manager and I would bitch at him basically about it, and he would bitch at the employees about it, and that was the end of it. Nothing ever really got done. Now when a concern comes in, I send the manager over to the house. The manager goes to the house, and let's say they say that the backyard wasn't mowed, just for an example. So I send the manager right over to the house. Well, the first thing I do is I check the GPS units to see if we were even there. Now I know my truck was there, but my truck was only there for 4 minutes. That tells me right now they never did the job. They did not do the job. They didn't do the work they were supposed to do. I know they didn't. So you can't do it in 4 minutes, okay? On average, you're going to be at each property anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. So there's no way they did that work in that amount of time. I'm going to send a manager to the house. Manager goes to the house, knocks on the door, hopefully meets with the homeowner. And even if the homeowner isn't there, he's going to investigate. He's going to find out what's going on. Then he's going to place the phone call back to the guys in the truck and tell them, get back here. When the guys come back there, then they get their asses chewed. And they're made to do it again, and explain to them that the next time this shit happens, you guys are coming back here and mowing this on your own time, and you're going to pay me to use my mowers and my truck. You're going to come back here on a Saturday and a Sunday to finish this shit. So you guys better do it right to begin with. So that's how you do that. All right, to get their attention, you know. So you listen to the customer's concern, and then you act on it. Solve the problem. We were guilty of this back when we were just growing and growing and growing and growing, and we had so many things going on. The customer would call and complain. We'd throw it over to a manager, and there was never any follow-up. Now, we set up a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet will start right here. The call came in. What do we do about it? Who got notified? We know the date they got notified. We talked to them. Did you talk to the manager, or did you have to leave them a voicemail, or did you leave them a text? Whatever that is, where's the follow-up from the manager? That needs to go right here. His results need to get typed in every day. I spoke with them. I made it right. I made the guys come back. It was John and Billy, truck number 7. These are the guys that did this. We're going to track this. We're going to track this to see if we got some bad apples here. Okay? So, at the end is conclusion. What is the conclusion? What happened at the end of that? We spoke with the customer. We made it right with them. All is good in the wood. All right? So, all is good in the wood. All is good in the neighborhood. Whatever. Either way. All right, so moving on from that. You acted on their concerns and you kept track of it. You always want to trust, you have a tendency to want to trust your people to do their job. And I have learned over time, you can't do that. You can't do that because even your best intended managers will drop the ball. I drop the ball even. I will make mistakes. And I think I never make a mistake, but sure as shit gets pointed out to me almost on a daily basis, all the mistakes that I make. Because I got a wife, okay? But apparently that's how I learn, is to be corrected. And usually it's in public, too. Whatever. So, anyway, so I know firsthand I'm going to make these mistakes. And even though you trust your manager, he still makes mistakes because he'll get a lot put on his plate. Or all of a sudden he has every intention in the world of going to see Mrs. Smith and fix the problem. But all of a sudden the guys are broke down with mowers over here and they need him over there. They need a fresh set of mowers. So he's got to run equipment over there, and before you know it, it's dark. Well, she never got dealt with. Tomorrow morning comes around, your manager had to go out He's got a whole list this big he's got to get through already. So all of a sudden she gets put on a back burner and nothing ever happens. If you keep it on a spreadsheet and you follow it from start to finish, that is the way to ensure that you're taking care of your customers. That is the way to run a good business, okay? I'm telling you this from experience, you guys, so please listen up. All right, that being said, you need to become proactive. So what I mean by proactive is I lost so many customers that all of a sudden one day just called and quit. And I would call them on the phone and I would try to find out what happened. You know, Mr. Jones, what happened? What did we do wrong? And he would say, you know, George, it's been going on for a while. I didn't really want to say anything, but, you know, one time your guys don't edge. The next time they don't blow everything off. The next time maybe they didn't trim around stuff. Sometimes they didn't cut the backyard. You know, it's always something, and I'm just tired of it. I'm moving on. I'm going with a different company. And that just kills me when I hear that stuff. So being proactive, I had to do things in my business to change that, to stop losing customers. And what I do is several things. So number one, we send out surveys. Our office sends out surveys once a month to the customers. They don't always return them. A lot of times they don't want to take the time. What we have found out is, especially with emails, we do a lot of work with emails with our customers now. We prefer, in this day and age, almost everyone has an email. Not all, but the majority. So we like to use the emails because they're more apt to respond to something like that because it's a couple clicks of a button and boom, it's done. They don't have to fill out the survey and put it in an envelope and put a stamp on it and mail it back to us. So we've got a better response. So, excuse me, in those surveys, we ask them, what can we do better? What could we have done better in the past? Is there anything that we could do better now you can think of? You know, your input is so detrimental to our company. We make them feel appreciated with this survey. Also, we will have our office girls call people and ask them, hey, how's everything going? Just wanted to touch base, find out how service was at your property. We're just doing a little follow-up. They appreciate that. You don't want to do it to the point where you're harassing them. Do one of two things. Like say, January, just for example, you know, or May, okay, send out a survey from the office. Send out an email or whatever. Maybe in June, phone call people. Maybe the next month, put a letter in the mail to all these people. Then, here's one of the other things we do. We have our managers actually physically go to each property at least once a month. Manager rolls up to the property, knocks on the door, asks them how everything is, if they're happy with the service. Again, it's all about the customer care thing, letting them know that they're appreciated. So during that month, they either got a letter from us or they got a phone call from us, and the manager came out and saw them, okay? So, and we also teach our employees, you know, if they do have a run-in with the customer, hey, always ask, how are we doing? Is there something we can do better? So these are all little things that we do for customer service, and we found we plugged a lot of holes in the ship by doing that. Now our ship travels so much faster and smoother because we're not taking on that water that's bogging us down. We took the matches away from the babies, okay? So you got to be proactive when it comes to that type of stuff. So that being said, you know, with the office surveys, the GPS tracking in the trucks, another valuable tool for us because we're on top of it. Our girls look. I can't stand it when our guys skip properties. I cannot stand it, and especially on Fridays. They'll try to skip properties. I don't care how much you bet you these guys. They'll do it. If they're falling behind or whatever, they don't want to work on the weekend, so they're going to try and push through, and they'll skip what they can. Our office girls catch that. They'll see that where those were skipped. We're sending them right back there. We don't even monkey around. We don't call the manager nothing. Their ass gets hauled right back to that job site. We want to know why they skipped that property. Did the homeowner tell you to? Because if they did, we're going to make a call to the homeowner. And that homeowner had better tell us the same thing, otherwise they're fired. I'm not going to take it when employees lie to me, so just the way it is. So being proactive is very important to you. To fix the employees, you know, you have to, another good part of customer service is when you find out there's still one truck out there that has a pack of matches because they're starting these little fires. You have these complaints. We track them when they come in. Any complaints that come in off these trucks, they're tracked. We know who's doing it. We narrow it down. It was truck 6, truck 7, truck 8, whatever it was. Those are the guys. Who was in that truck today? Who are those guys? Because every time this one guy, a lot of these complaints, all of a sudden you'll start to see who the guys are that are causing the problems. And then you need to get rid of those guys. Sit them down, talk to them. If you can't fix the problem, get rid of them. Don't wait long on it. They've had a customer complaint, you tell them you're not going to put up with it anymore, so you damn well better be doing a perfect job for everybody else. So, so make sure you do that. Think of it from a customer's point of view. Customer's point of view. You know, the customer's always right, even if they're not, they're right. And your mentality needs to be the same way. If I get hounded all the time, let's say I'm a customer, I get door hangers on my door once a week from lawn care companies, okay, especially like down in Florida. So it's not going to take much for me to switch to another company. All right, they're always there. It's cheaper, it's this, it's that, it's whatever. But if you piss me off enough, I'm going to leave you. Okay? What that customer truly wants is less headaches. They don't want to have to worry about that lawn. They want to be able to go to their job. It's stressful enough at their job. When they come home, they don't want to have to look at the lawn and say, why wasn't it mowed? Okay, God damn it. And, you know, I've had enough of these guys. And then they're on the phone and they're this and that. Now their tension just went up again. They don't want that. So think of it from a customer's point of view. Customer service is so critical, you guys. They just want everything easier. We offer invoices, you know, over the internet. You know, if we invoice them, they can pay online. We make everything as easy for them as possible. So keep that in mind as you're going through life. These are just some tips on how to retain customers. If you're losing customers, you got to go through these steps that I just mentioned, and you got to stop the hemorrhaging. You got to get rid of the fire starters. You know, you've got to show the customer that you actually care about them, okay? So, that being said, this has been George Packard with Family Lawn and Landscape. Thank you for watching, and as always, leave me your comments down below as I try to answer everyone. Any ideas you have for videos, leave those down there as well. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.